Hello, you lovely people. This is Niho from Niho Models and Art. And as I said in my last video, we're going to start talking about some materials, some essentials, in my opinion, to get when you're starting model building. Okay, first things first, what you're going to need is what you see on the screen right here. I mean, two hands, obviously, the more the better, and a building mat. I've bought this one from Amazon after like my, I think, third model, and I really can't stress how essential this is, especially for the surface you're building on, because you're going to spill colors, glue, everything. So if you want to keep a clean surface, use one of these building mats. They also have a nice grip to it, so they lay very stable on each surface you put it on. And you have, for example, these little squares. These are all 1 by 1 centimeter. So later on, when you start doing some precise work or you gotta measure something, you don't need an extra ruler or anything, because everything will be right on your mat. Second, these mats are self-healing. So if you cut something on them, there won't be any scratches. So another very important topic. Good, let's start with the first and maybe the most basic essential you need, and that's a sprue cutter. When I built my first model that I introduced in the video before, the Bismarck, I used a kitchen knife to cut the parts from the sprue, and that is not working. Don't fool yourself, it's not working. Yeah, so you need a sprue cutter so you don't damage the parts. This one is, yeah, you can see that's a no-name brand, very cheap. You already have some nice rust on it. The spring that keeps it open isn't the strongest anymore, but that's completely fine, because these things are just for getting the parts off the sprue. If you want to do some fine work on them, you need a hobby knife or file anyway. So sprue cutter, very essential, very important. Next is a hobby knife. This one's from Tamiya, a brand I can wholeheartedly endorse, because they make some very good quality models, and it's for the next videos, but they make the best cement for your models. You can see, looks almost like a scalpel, which you could also use for your models. And not most of the times, but like almost always, you get spare blades. So if you buy this for like, I think it was $10, and you change the blades every few months, this will last you years. Very easy, very accessible, and you can use it to clean off like flesh from the sprues and to do some fine work on your models. Next thing is a pair of scissors, another cutting device, but this isn't for the models. This isn't strong enough. This is a very cheap plastic frame and some very brittle blades. But what do you need this for? With every model there will be, or with almost every model, there will be decals, water slide stickers. And to cut them out, you can either use the hobby knife on your mat, or you use this kind of scissors. But any scissors with a straight edge will do. This is just to do some precise work. And I can tell you, in some cases, you will have like an old Russian or Soviet tank. They maybe have 4 to 6 decals on the whole model. But if you're getting like into aircraft, especially modern day ones, there can be easily up to 100 or even more decals. So get one of these, it will be beneficial. Next one is a pair of tweezers. Why do you need tweezers? The parts can get very fragile and very thin. And sometimes, especially when you have like short and thick fingers like me, you won't get in every corner with your bare fingers. So this is another essential to get if you want to place something very precisely. There are a lot of different kind of tweezers. I only or mostly use these one. Maybe I'll get some finer ones, but this is okay for the beginning. And last but not least, for the essentials you should get before you start, but you already have this at home, it's a pen. Why do I even mention a pen? Sometimes when you're building a model, you're not going to finish it in one day or in one sitting. So it's always good to mark where you stopped, so you know where to keep going and don't get confused. But you can also use it to mark certain things you want to do different, or maybe some things you don't want to do at all. Some instructions give you alternatives in builds, not just in decals or colors, but also in the way you build the model. So you can mark which parts you want to skip and mark which parts you want to do. So that's very important to keep track of. Okay, that's it for this video. These are like the basic essentials you need every time you build a model. Of course, there are other essentials as well, but I would advise you to get all this. I've seen on different websites or Amazon that you can get like a mat, some tweezers, scissors, a knife, and a sprue cutter for about 10 to 15 euros. For this price, that's very reasonable. Only thing I would advise you to do is buy a big mat. So not in the A4 format, maybe go A3, so you have more working space. Okay, if there are any questions, let me know, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.